Hi everybody, welcome to my cello class. I am going to teach you to play the cello. Now, it occurs to me that there are lots and lots of people in the world who'd love to play cello, but they don't know where to start. We start at the beginning, darlings. It's that simple. So the first thing you need is a cello. Hire one. They're very, very reasonable. If you buy one from China, you are going to have a lot of problems from the onset. You need your cello to be set up. This setting up needs to be done by a professional cello repair hire business. Do not take the cello that you've bought on eBay to a guitar shop. They will break it or they will make it worse. The millimetres that are needed for fine setting up of a cello are of absolute importance. All string instruments require these millimetres to set them up correctly, and a luthier who works with guitars doesn't know them, and it's not the sort of thing you can just look up on the internet. You need to take your cello to a specialist. It's much easier just to hire one from said specialist in the first place. You don't know if you're going to enjoy it. They're really reasonable. You can hire a already set up student cello. If you go to, some schools do them as well. But the thing is, darlings, if you start with an instrument that is faulty, I won't be able to progress with you. And I'm not there to tell you how rubbish it is, if it is. So teaching via a podcast requires a different set of rules, and you need to stick to them, otherwise we won't get anywhere. So the first thing to have is your cello, and it's been set up. And if you're a parent and you're starting this series with a child, you're going to cause really a lot of emotional damage if the cello has a problem, because the child will not be able to get decent sounds out of the cello if it's not set up correctly. Okay? So that's the first thing. We've got that out of the way. Now the next thing, and I'm being a stickler here, the next thing is that you need to be tuned up. Always, always tuned up. Okay? And I always work with a drone, and you're going to be hearing the drones in a minute that we will be working with for the next 6 months while I teach you to play. So, here we go. I've got my, it's not a drone. I use something called GarageBand, and I find the best, the least distracting backdrop in the key that I need are the bass, the cello and the viola. When you start adding the violins, it can be a little confusing, but we'll be doing that, but not at the moment. So I'm assuming that you're already tuned up. There is a tuning lesson at Telltale Kids, and I'll pop that in the link. It's difficult to tune a cello. You need to probably go and watch a video. I'm hoping that's not too loud in the background. I don't think it is. You need to watch a video because or listen to my podcast. So that's already up there. I'll sort that out. So now you've got this cello, and you need to look at a video to see how to hold it. The only problems I can see, if you're small of stature and frame, don't be tempted to have a smaller cello. You won't get the sound that you need out of it. You don't get good sounds out of half-size cellos in the same way that, I mean, it's fine for a little child, but if you're an adult, and even if you're small, try and get a full-size cello. It makes a world of difference in your the production of your sound, because the dimensions of it are quite perfect for the orchestra and for solo work. If you've got a big bassoon, it can be slightly awkward. You're going to have to find a way of sitting properly. I personally have mine under my boobs, because if I lean it on top of them, my chest, I hit my ear on the pegs, and I can't feel enough of the note in my breastbone. So I have it under. I have my cello quite tilted because that's the way I like it. Everybody is different, so you need to find a way to hold it. Again, we'll do another, I think there is a class already that I've done on how to hold it. All I want to do today is tell you the names of the notes. And you can pluck them today, or pizzicato. This is known as pizzicato in music. If you see P-I-Z-Z, that means you're being instructed to pizzicato, not bow. Now, some people I've seen using a thumb to pizzicato, but it's easier and more usual to hold your thumb on the side of the fingerboard and use your forefinger, and tuck your fingers under so they're not getting in the way. You know, the fingers are annoying if they're in the way. So this first note is a C, and I call it the deep blue C because it's got that lovely deep sound to it. And deep blue C is a really good way of remembering it, especially for kids. So play that a few times. It's the nearest one to your ear. You can play it quietly, and you can get louder. Look at it vibrate. I mean, that's fantastic, isn't it? It's still going. It's still doing it now. I can still see it moving. It's still moving. It's still moving slightly. Okay, I think it's stopped now. That's amazing, isn't it? The length of the vibration, the length of time that it goes on for. So that's a C, deep blue C. And next to the deep blue C is the G string. If it helps to have scenarios in your head, then do them. You could have a G string bikini clad lady going into the deep blue C. I like stories when I'm trying to remember things. When I'm trying to remember passages of music, I very often think of things in terms of a dance, or when I play the Bach suites, he had lots of children, and I think about his children, and I give different notes to his different children as they chase each other about the page, and it helps me remember, you know, where I'm going. I don't need to tell every note, but you know, if there's I remember this bit, it goes up to the D as if somebody's calling from somewhere else. Or it's quite a useful way of memorizing things. If you struggle with that, you may not. You may already know that's a C and then that's a G, and you may never have to worry about it again. The strings of the cello are set a fifth apart, so that means every fifth note on the scale. So we've got a C and a G. And the note next to that is a D. I don't call this anything. I just call it D. The D is very important to cellists. In Baroque times, it was thought of as the most beautiful key, and the most beautiful songs were composed in D major. It was thought of as a very special key. For cellists, it does have a beautiful resonance. Usually the string is easy to handle. It's not too fat, because the C string can be difficult to get a beautiful note out of. If we do it incorrectly, we have to be quite slow on our bow, and it's a very fat note. It can be a bit crazy wild. The D is much kinder to play. It's kinder on our bows. The angle is probably a little bit easier. Our arm isn't. We don't have to come too far over or too high with our elbow. So D is a favoured note quite often with cellists. So we can just play that a few times and see. And you'll see the vibration is not quite as magnified as the deep blue C, which seemingly went on for much longer. Now this is something we can use in music. Understanding that these thicker strings are going to go on for ages, we can really use that. We can allow it to carry on its vibration as we play over it, above it. And that's when we play chords very often. We still hear that C the longest, so it's good to use that as the root note. And we're playing a C major backing track. So this is sounding really, it's resonating very well. Now all of these notes are actually in the C scale. Let's play the A now. So the A is, I would say it's quite easy to play, but because it's quite far from our hearts, if you like, and our shoulder, the bowing shoulder, it's the furthest, it can be the one that's eeky screeches the most. And eeky screechy is not what the cellist is aiming for. Eeky screechy is what the cellist fears. It's the hardest one to have a nice straight bow on, and we demand a straight bow. Now when I say straight, what I mean is perpendicular to, so straight according to the horizon or the axis, perpendicular to the string. We want to make a plus sign against the string, not a kiss sign. And that's how we avoid eeky screechy. We make sure that we're perpendicular. We'll talk about that in another class. So, all I want you to do today is learn these notes. A, D, G, and C. And play around with them. Call out the names of the notes, mix them up. See what you think, see which one's your favourite. Make sure you're in tune. Have a discovery session. Make up a song. You've got 4 notes. You could make up a song with these 4 notes. These 4 notes are very often used in pop music. They form the basis, they're a fifth apart. They form the basis of a lot of songs that climb to these wonderful fifths and then fall back down again. There's quite a lot you can do with 4 notes and a thumb or a forefinger, depending on what you're using for your pizzicato. Okay, that's the end of lesson 1. We're going to be doing lots of fun stuff, games, and I'm hoping that in 6 months I would have told you the rudiments and will be using Suzuki and ABRSM methods. There are a lot of lessons already up at Telltale Kids. I did a lot for children. I'm hoping that this class will be a little bit more open for all ages and a little bit more grown up. And if you're a parent and you want to get your child into this, you should be the monitor. You should be the arbiter. You should learn as well, but you don't have to play. But you do have to learn. You have to learn the rudiments yourself, because the best way to produce a wonderful musician is to parent. The parents are the best teachers, without a doubt. And if you know nothing, you're not going to be much use to your child. So I'll be back tomorrow with another little class.